What's up guys? So in this video we are going to learn the basics of how flexbox works, and we're also going to take the understanding from what we've learned to build this beginner project from Frontend Mentor. So if we head over to frontendmentor.io, you can see the challenge right here, and in case if you don't know what Frontendmentor.io is basically a platform to test your coding skills. And actually the project you have here are projects you would see in real world applications. So it's it's a very good platform for you to check out. Alright, so I'll leave a link to the GitHub repo and the link to this particular project in case if you want to code along. Alright, so before we start coding, I just wanted to talk briefly about how flexbox is. And I know you can see that I wrote flexbox crash course, but it's just basically a little mini series of the properties or values you use with flexbox. So let's see how it works. So first of all, what is flexbox? Flexbox is a CSS layout and is designed to create more efficient and predictable ways to arrange items within a container or within our website in our case, and even when their sizes are unknown or dynamic. So the way it was normally done was by using what we call floats, and float was really terrible to use. I didn't use it that much before flexbox was introduced, but it was really stressful. And the funny thing is that people still use it in projects. So that being said, let's take a look at some benefits of using flexbox, and one of them is alignment. So with flexbox you can easily align items horizontally or vertically within your web page. Second one is distribution. So flexbox can be used to distribute space between items and include the ability to adjust their sizes. We'll see that in a minute. And the last one here says responsiveness. So basically flexbox simplifies the creation of responsive designs that adapt to different screen sizes. Alright, cool. So let's see some use case of when you should use flexbox. First scenario is for if you want to arrange items in a row or column. So if you want to see if you want to make some of your pages stack side by side, flexbox is a good solution for that. There's another one called grid, but we talk about that in another video. So another use case is for when you need to distribute space within a container dynamically. And last one is when alignment and spacing are critical and should be handled. Is we will see all this in the project when we start building it. Alright, so let's start coding. Alright, so I've already downloaded the project and have it open on VS Code, so you can do that, or you can use the code editor of your choice. And essentially these are the files you see. Again, the link to the file and the GitHub repo will be in the description, and I also have it open on Figma as well. So if you go to the design files, you see some files here which where are you? Okay, yeah, which will make reference to as we are building the project. Alright, cool. So the first thing for us to do is to open this style guide here and set up some of the colors that were given to us by Frontend Mentor, as well as the font family. So close this out and create index. Okay, let's call this star CSS file. And the first thing is to create this root right here. And inside this root elements, we'll basically want to store these colors in variables so that we can reuse them without having to like type this color out every time. So I'll copy this one by one, and we'll just call this say primary colors, and call this color primary 200. So this is just a naming convention I like using. You can as well stick to something like very dark blue, or green background. So basically subjective. So copy this next one, bring this down 2 times, make this 300, paste this one here, then the last one is this right here. All right, and we have another one for the neutral colors. So for the neutral, we say, let me just copy this down and bring this down. So by the way, to actually copy this down, I'm holding Shift Alt and down arrow key for Windows. I don't know what it is for Mac. And to bring it down to where the neutral color is, I'm just holding Alt, then using my down arrow key. So I'll get rid of this. And this should be neutral. I believe let's start the neutral from 100. Paste the color we copied. Duplicate this 2 more times. This should be 200. This should be 300. All right. I believe we might not use all the colors that we are copying right here, but I'll try to make reference to it to see what was used in a particular section. All right, cool. So now what we need to do is to get the fonts. So go to fonts.google. I believe I have them downloaded already, if I'm not mistaken. So the fonts are Inter and Lex Endecker. So let's see if I have them right here. Yeah, both of them are right here, but you can just search for them. So you can say Inter. Okay, just for simplicity's sake, let me just get rid of it and do it again. So say Inter, we'll click on get fonts, then we'll go to Lex End. I believe Lex End. Yeah, this one. Okay, Lex Endecker. There is this one. Yeah. So click on get fonts, and now you click on get embedded code. You can either import it or use a link. So we'll just copy it here, and we'll go to my index file. I will just get rid of this one here and paste it here. Okay, while we are there, let's just let's leave it. Let's just make this title to be like this. Okay, I don't need this. You can leave this if you want to, but I won't be using this in project. So let's save. And since we're here, so let's just link our CSS. So we say link, and it should be this one. So style.css should be it right here. All right, cool. So lastly, we want to open see our code on our browser. So if this is your first time, there's an extension called live server. Yeah, so this one, it basically makes you to save your HTML document without having to manually refresh it every time. So if you have that installed, you can just click on open live server and it should be opened in a minute. Yeah, so yeah, it is. So let's close this so we don't need it anymore. We'll bring this down. Let's take this to the side. All right, cool. So let's start writing the HTML for the design. So the approach I normally go for is to write the HTML for desktop. Then when I want to start styling, I style mobile first. So this is the approach I like using, but you can do reverse, anyone works. So that being said, you can see we have two columns right here. What should I say, columns? This is one row rather that is split into columns. So, and here we just have a single column right here, and here we have a single row. Okay, yeah, that's it. Which means that we'll have this section will be in one div and this section will be in another div. And for desktop, you can see it's basically the same, but the image now is now starting on the right, while on mobile the image is basically starting on the top, or you can see it as left if it was the opposite. So we'll make a little adjustment by putting this image when we are writing our HTML code, or we'll switch it up on desktop screens and up. So all these are little things to consider to actually speed up your development process rather than just jumping into VS Code and start coding. So we'll head back, and these contents were given to us by Frontend Mentor as well. So the first thing to do is to create a div with a class of panel. So the panel is essentially holding everything, so both the image and this content right here. So inside the panel now, we'll create another div to store the image, and let's bring in the image. So the image was two, so we have the image, one for mobile and one for desktop. I'll show you a little trick of how you can change this to desktop on bigger screens. Then if we save for now, you can see the image is coming in, but from here we're having this purplish kind of overlay to it. So we'll just come here and add the class of overlay, which will style later on. Then still inside the panel, let me call this image, and then just call this one content for the next part. So inside here we have inside this div right here, I don't know why this changed to black. Let me quickly adjust this to white. Okay, so inside this div right here, you can still break it down into this part can be the title, and this part can be the title, then this section here can be the start section, which we're going to do, but both of them are inside a single div. All right, So we'll say call this div content, and inside there we have one of them called title, and inside this title we'll grab h1, I think is this one right here. We'll paste it in, but if you notice, you see that this inside has this purplish color. So what we'll do is to wrap this inside in a span tag, so we can style it later on. Then still inside the title, create a p tag and cut this part here and paste it in. And then let me just comment this out, say title, and this should be starts. So inside this start comment right here, we'll create a div with a class of starts, and inside that starts you can see that this is where flexbox comes in handy. You can see in mobile it's stacked. Okay, on mobile is, don't know why this color keeps changing. Okay, so on mobile is stacked vertically, but on desktop is stacked horizontally. So what we'll do, because we'll be using flexbox throughout, we'll break this into different sections. So these two will be called flex items or flex children, while this div right here will be the actual flex parent. Or in our case, the flex parent will be starts, then the flex item, which are the individual items, we call it flex start info, and we just say here should be an h2, paste this one right here, and the next one should be a p tag, copy it right here and paste it here. So we have 3, so copy this 2 more times, say 1, 2, and just replace all this. Okay, templates, then paste it here. So let's see the design. So this is the capital letter M, which you just change here. So you can see that we've already structured our document as we want, because this is very, very crucial, and I believe and is one thing people don't necessarily pay attention to, because if you write your HTML in a more easy way, styling won't be stressful. All right, now that we have that, let's start styling this right here. Okay, the first thing first is we want to get rid of the spacing that was given to us by our browser. So use this wildcard and say margin should be 0, padding should be 0, and box sizing should be border box, so that we can size our elements properly. So if we save now, you can see that those white spaces are gone. The next thing for us to do is to change this font to the font we brought in on our where is it? Yeah, these 2 fonts right here. So we say the font family, and we need to just bring it here too. So we say primary font should be I think it's Inter, then the fallback should be sans serif. Then for the secondary font, then we just go to the style guide and copy that. Where is it? Okay, this one right here. This sans serif as well, sans serif. Okay, I don't know why this is not. Okay, we're missing a colon right here. All right, cool. So we'll set this to the primary font. Consider it's taking the effect right here. Next thing is I want to change the body of I want to change the background rather. So this should be 200. Yeah, and let's just make the color so this white color right here. Okay, cool. And let's still add some padding, as you can see right here, for the left and right axis. So say padding inline should be 1 rem. So padding inline is basically taking, just like saying padding left and padding right, but this is more like a logical property that handles both cases. Then next thing to do is to get rid of this overflow right here, and it's because of this image. So we set the image to take the max width of its container, so 100%. All right, cool. So now we grab the panel. Let's close this out. So the panel is basically the one holding the image and the content. So you can still do that from the body, but I just want to do everything from the panel. So we'll say panel, and in our case we'll I think we should just leave it at this right now, and let's add a margin block of, let's just say 2 rem. That work? Okay, so margin block is still a logical property, so this is for margin top and margin bottom. The same thing, you can still do padding block. It's going to take for padding top and padding bottom. All right, so the next thing to do is to set the background color to, I think it should be 300. Yes, yeah, this is the color right here. Okay, cool. And now let's still give it like a max width. So say max width of 100 pixels, and we're going to center it in the middle by saying margin inline of auto. So right now it shouldn't take more than 100. So basically from here to here, don't worry about the image. This is actually the size of the image. All right, so the next thing to do is let's add some border radius, because I believe there's some border radius right here. So yeah, so we can just say border radius of 1 rem, but it's going to be applied here, but it is going to be applied right here because of this image. And let's just take care of that right now. So grab the image and the actual image. I will give it some border top right radius of, like, what do we use right here? This is too much, so let's bring this to like 0.5. Let's bring this to 0.5. Okay, so we'll do the same for the left as well. I know we haven't started talking about flexbox, but if you take a look, you'll see that these are stacked, so we don't actually need flex. You don't have to add flex right here. It's when we get to the desktop, that's when we start implementing the flexbox and stuff like that. But I will still try to show what it is when we're done styling the mobile side of things. Okay, cool. So we actually want to like change this image to this purplish color right here. So there are multiple ways to go around it, but the first okay, let me say should I say the most easiest one, but the way that I believe is going to be understandable is to actually grab the image tag and set this to like relative, because we want to get the overlay and set it to absolute, and also add a position of top of 0, left of 0, background color should be the purplish color right here. Then this is not showing because we need to set the height to 100% and the width to 100%. So you can see that is coming right here. Cool. And now what we have to do is to use a property called mix, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, mix blend mode, and we'll set it to multiply. So you can see that it's been that means we're basically just taking this color and mixing it with the image right here. But you can notice that we have some little space right here, which we'll fix by setting the vertical line align to middle to get rid of that. Okay, cool. So let's start starting the content. So grab the content class and give it a padding of 2 rem for the top and bottom and 1 rem for the left and right. All right, cool. We'll also center it because I believe it was centered as well. Okay, so next is to grab the title div. If you remembered, inside this content we have the title div and the stats. So grab title and give it a margin bottom of like 2.5 rem to add the spacing underneath. And now let's type this h1 here. So we can just copy this, pass it the h1, give it a font size of 1.7 rem. Is about okay? It's okay. Also add the margin bottom of like 1 rem. Cool. Now we want to add the primary color to this inside right here. So say content title, grab the span tag and set the color to primary 400. All right, cool. Now if we head over to the style guide again, I believe I missed some things. Okay, so the main heading should be white. Main paragraph, I believe this one should be this color. So for the p tag, we'll get the content title and first of all we'll add the line height of like 1.6. okay, then the color should be the neutral 200. all right, believe okay. That's cool, because if we actually go to mobile right here, I see that it's basically similar to what we have here. Okay, so next is to actually start the start section. So the first thing is to first of all add spacing between each of these starts right here. So what we'll do is to get the content and start info, not the actual stats. So start info, and we'll say not pseudo class and say the last child. So basically we're saying anything we do here, don't apply it to the last child. In our case, we want to just add the margin bottom of screen. So it's going to add margin here, but it's not going to add it here. We can also say color of red. You should see it. So it's adding to this, so it's not adding to this. Okay, cool. So now we'll grab this H2 right here and say content start info. H2. And let's add a margin bottom of like 0.5, because I believe the space was not too much. Yeah. Okay. Then for the P tag, we'll paste this here and select the P tag and say the color should be, did you give us a specific color to use? Start headings has, okay. So this right here has the 300. Okay. And I believe this as well. We have, it's kind of strange because okay, this should come here. Don't know why I did like that, or this makes total sense. Then text transform going to be uppercase, and let's add some spacing to it. And I believe this font right here is different from what was used. Yeah, so we'll use the secondary fonts here. So say font family should be secondary fonts. Okay, and let's still bring down the font size to like 9 rem. Cool. So we are actually done with this. So it's time for us to add to make this panel right here responsive for desktop screens and up. So the first thing we want to do is to like say SMAC media query here, and we'll say media, and let's target screens from 768 pixels and up. So we can test that by saying margin, the body rather should have a display of none. So when we get to 768, we shouldn't see anything right here. I believe here's a perfect start. So get rid of this, and you can see that this image right here, you can see it's not taking the full width because we want to stack things side by side. So the first thing to do is to actually grab this panel, and now we want to add display flex. So we say display flex. So you can see the way it works by default is that the elements are being stacked as row by default. I can't type. So anytime you add display flex to the parent right here, so this is actually a flex container, and the divs inside it are called flex items. So anytime you add display flex to the flex container, it actually stacks the items to row, because that's the default state. So if you want it to be the way it was initially, you can set it to change the direction and say column. So it's going to go back to where we were. So that's just something to keep in mind. And now you can see that the stuff are stacked side by side, and don't worry about this space. It's going to fix that. And for the design, you notice that the image is at the right. So for us to be able to do that, I believe there are two ways to do this, using what we call order, but we'll use this simple method. So for the flex direction, remember we added column, and there's the default one was row, which is this. So we still need this to be here, but we want to reverse the position of them. So we can say row and add reverse. So the image is now going to come to the right, then the content is going to go to the left. All right, so this extra space you are seeing is coming from the actual content right here because of the height it has. So if we remove this, leave these two are going to like be the same. So let me just quickly test that out. So say start, let me say display none. You can see that, okay, so there are some spacing right here which is still coming from the image, which you can actually fix by adding some CSS. I'll bring this back. All right, cool. Let's now let's first of all change this image right here. So we'll grab that image and we'll get the content, and we'll change the actual content to be, I believe, yeah, this is it, to be the one of the desktop. So if we save right now, so the both of the images are quite similar, but I believe there's another image just to test it out that is working. So if we use this favicon now, you see that this changes to favicon. So we'll change this back to the desktop one. All right, this is the one for the desktop. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do is to actually first of all add a display flex to this start right here, as it is right here. So similar thing of what we did with this panel, we'll just get the start, and if you add display flex, you'll notice that all of them are being stacked side by side. And while we are there, before we do that, let's just take the content back to text align of left for everything to be synchronized. Yeah, okay. So it takes the flex item and stacks them in row. Next, we want to add spacing between them. So what we'll do next is to say justify content, and this justify content lets you align the items on the main axis. So there's another one they call align items. It does that on the cross axis, but justify content actually position the items on the main axis. So if we had a property called space between, which will be what you use 99% of the time, you can see that, okay, it's giving us some spacing. There's another one called space around, just as the name implies, is going to add space around. But you can see that this is not actually sizing up with this right here. And there's another one called space evenly. So it's adding even spaces between right here and right here. But we'll stick to space between. Yeah. All right, cool. So we also want to get rid of this the margin bottom. I believe, where was it? Okay, this is right here. So we want to get rid of it on desktop screens as well. So say margin bottom should be 0. Okay. And now what should we style next? Let's just style this image. So we grab this image. I remember I fixed it there. Okay. So come here and say the width should be 100%, which is not going to change anything. Then the height is going to be 100%. Now you can see that it's taking the entire height, but the image is not looking kind of should I say squashy, but it's not looking good. So we can do that by saying object fit to cover. So it's not looking much better. I will actually change the border radius because on desktop it's been added to this and this. So say border top right of 0.5 rem and border bottom right. Then we also, I believe the top left, we'll make it 0, which means we don't necessarily have to touch this again, I believe. Yeah, so we'll get rid of this one because this was already there by default. Okay, cool. Now what we want to do is to actually add more like an even width between this content right here, between this content and this image. So if we open this on bigger screen, you can see that this content is taking more width than this image, which we don't really want. So how do we fix that? Well, basically, why should we do that? Okay, let's do that right here. Say we'll grab the content and we'll grab the image, and we add another property called flex basis. So what this flex basis does is basically more like width. So it's more like width, but it's just being called flex basis. So if we say, first of all, let's do this individually. So if we grab this content and set the flex basis to like 200 pixels, you see that now this kind of gets bigger while this gets smaller. The same thing if we grab the image and set the flex basis to like 100 pixels. Now you are seeing the deal. So this gets bigger than this. So this flex basis is more like determines the width of how the items inside the flex container should be. All right. Now that I think you have a basic understanding of that, we'll grab both of them and just give them 50%. So this should be 50%, this should be 50%, and I believe that was what, yeah, so it's the same thing right here. So now both of them now have equal size. But for this now, you can, if you notice there were spaces, let me just make this bigger. we're going to fix all this in a bit. There's some space right here and the same thing right here. So for that, which one should we do first? So let's just style this content right here. So let me uncomment this. So give this a max width of a specific value so that it doesn't get more than that value. And in our case, we just set it to should be between 400 pixels. Okay, let's just say 410. Okay, because this, we want this to basically align with this which we're having. As you can see that the thing is now looking scattered. So to fix that, we'll go back right here and set the margin inline to be auto. All right, cool. Now what we want to do is to center this on the middle right here. Remember that when we added this, we didn't do align items like I said. So align items will basically align the items just like the name and just align it to the middle right here. All right, cool. I believe that should be that. That should be for that. Is there any other thing? Okay. So the spacing right here, we don't need to add space because we've already given this a max width of what was the max width again? Max width of 410. Cool. So right now, the last thing I want to do is to like center it on the screen properly, because right now there's spaces. The space here is actually smaller than the space right here. So to fix that, we can just do that by grabbing the body and the first things first is to set the display of flex, not subgrid. Display of flex, nothing should happen because everything, we're actually adding this, and this is the only flex item. Assuming we had another one right now, let me just say we have something here, so this should change, and you can see now this is right, it's coming right here, because remember again, if you add flex to any flex container, it's going to change the direction to row by default. All right, that being said, let's still add align items to center. Nothing should work, and if we still add justify content to center, nothing is going to work. And why is that? So the way justify content work is that you have to like give it a specific height. So if we change the background color to like pink, so this is not a bad color, by the way. So, and I just noticed something here which we'll fix in a bit as well. So if we bring in a justify content center, it's done, it doesn't have any height right now. But if we now have a height of like 100 VH, you can see that this justify content now is working based on the main axis. So it's working based on the height you give to it. So that's just something on the side note. Bring this back. All right, cool. Okay, I said I wanted to fix something right here. So if we bring in the background color of pink, I believe. Yeah, so to add border radius to this, we just need to use the overlay and just do the same thing here, but this should be for the bottom and the top. So that is coming in. Now we just have to get rid of this pink background because we don't need it. All right guys, this is basically the end of the video. Hope you learned something from it, and do it to like, share and subscribe if you found the video helpful, and you can leave your questions and suggestions